In the last lesson, we ended with an error due to this thing called hashable. This brings us into the issues of protocols in general and the hashable and identifiable protocols more specifically. A protocol is a template for a class or struct. It contains declarations for properties or methods. A class or struct adopts the protocol, then defines them more specifically for this situation. You're guaranteed that anything that adopts a protocol can be used the same as anything else that adopts a protocol. For example, objects adopting the hashable protocol require values to be of a simple type, such as int or float or string. However, menu item is not a simple type. It's a combination of simple types to make the struct. ForEach adopted hashable for the value of ID. Therefore, you must use a simple type to make an ID, and self is the struct menu item, so it causes an error. So let's go over and take a look at menu item now. We can fix this by using a unique value within a menu item. This is why we have the ID here. We use it to be the index of the item. It is a simple integer, so it's hashable. So it's real easy to fix this. Let's go back over here to Content View. And all we need to do is go over here where it says ForEach, go over one spot and type .id. And I'll hit return. And the error disappears and it works perfectly. So that's one way of dealing with this error. And that is taking the ID of self instead of taking self itself, because ID is hashable. Another protocol the ForEach uses is the identifiable protocol. If the elements of your collection adopt identifiable, then you don't need the ID parameter. So I'm going to head back over here to menu model and menu item. And I'm going to change my menu item a little bit here. And it's going to adopt the protocol. And the way we adopt it is I say, okay, colon, and I put identifiable like that. And now it's adopted the protocol. This is what it wants. It wants the ID. Identifiable requires an ID. But if I were to delete it, we're going to get the error message type menu item does not conform to protocol identifiable, which is the same thing we got earlier when we were on the ForEach. It's saying this does not fit the protocol. So we have to make sure we have the right things in there to show the protocol. So if I do a Command Z or an undo of some kind and put that back in there, it's going to be okay. It's all happy now. Now I can do something interesting in my code. So I'm going to go back to Content View, and I don't need ID. If it's identifiable, the ForEach will know that the ID is in the menu, or in the items in the menu, which is menu item view. So I can just get rid of all that, and you'll notice it's running fine. There's no errors. In SwiftUI, any custom object you put into a collection iterator, like the ForEach, will need to adopt the protocol identifiable. For ID to work properly, all values of identifiable should also be unique. I can't have two items with item 2, for example. Now, in the end, look at that code, and it's a lot less clunky, and it's streamlined by just putting in that one value, the one collection called menu. And so this looks a lot more like our for loop that we had in Swift. There are lots of protocols in Swift and SwiftUI. Hashable and identifiable are only two examples. You can also make your own protocols, which we're going to learn later in the course. As we move forward in this course, you'll find more protocols you'll have to adopt, but identifiable is one of the most critical.